At the beginning of the 20th century, when women in America didn't even have voting rights, Belle da Costa Greene reached extraordinary heights on the strength of her intellect, wit, and style. As the personal librarian of J.P. Morgan, she became the custodian of the world's greatest cultural treasures: rare books, illuminated manuscripts, original art by Da Vinci, Mozart, Michelangelo, and so on. She had hundreds of thousands of dollars at her disposal and the trust of one of the most powerful men in America. But she had a dangerous secret, one that could bring down her entire family. A secret that thankfully was revealed long after her death. In the era of segregation, Belle was an African American woman who managed to pass as white. The Personal Librarian, written by Marie Benedict and Victoria Christopher Murray, is a novel based on the incredible true story of this formidable woman. Let's switch on the reading lamp. Hello, I'm Asabari, and on this channel, I review books and talk about reading in general. Shall we have a look at the details of today's book?
Facts and Figures.
The Personal Librarian is a historical novel based on the true story of Belle da Costa Greene. It's co-authored by Marie Benedict and Victoria Christopher Murray. It was published by Berkeley, New York in 2021. The book is 352 pages long and available in paperback, hardcover, and Kindle editions. The audiobook is available on Audible. Now let's talk about the actual contents of the book. But as you know, no spoilers, no worry. Just
the cover story.
Belle da Costa Greene was born Belle Marion Greener. Her father, Richard Greener, was the first black man to graduate from Harvard. Both her parents were of mixed race. So she and her four siblings were all born olive or fair-skinned and could pass for white. In order to give her children a chance at a good education and better life, her mother shifted to New York, away from their black community, and registered them as white in the public census. But her father was an equal rights activist and he refused to go along with the deception. He left the family, went to Siberia as an American diplomat, and there he had another family with a Japanese woman, although he never divorced Belle's mother. In 1902, Belle began working as a librarian at Princeton University. During this time, she was trained in cataloging and reference work and developed a knowledge of rare books. It was at Princeton that she met Junius Spencer Morgan II, who introduced her to his uncle J.P. Morgan. In 1905, she became J.P. Morgan's personal librarian. Initially, her job was to organize, catalog, and shelve Morgan's collection. Soon, she became an expert in the field of manuscripts and rare books. By 1908, she had impressed and gained the trust of J.P. Morgan and proved her ability to bargain with dealers. She began representing him at auctions and estate sales both within and outside the country. She spent millions of dollars buying and selling rare manuscripts, books, and art for J.P. Morgan. Her mother often cautioned her to keep a low profile to avoid bringing attention to herself and her family. There was always that persistent fear of being outed as black. In those times, black people who passed as white were punished under law if they were caught. There was also the risk of the whole family losing their jobs, their social standing, if even one member was caught passing as white. But Belle wore bright jewel-colored clothes and flamboyant hats and often flirted outrageously with art dealers and colleagues. She called it hiding in plain sight. The relationship between J.P. Morgan and Belle also intrigued a lot of people because J.P. had a reputation as a ladies' man. But their professional relationship was too important, far too important, for both of them to jeopardize it in any way. She was paid one of the highest salaries for the times, and she was extremely loyal to her employer and her job. The Morgan Library and Museum was opened to the public in 1924. It was Belle's dream and vision that everyone, and not just a select few, should have access to the impressive collection of JP Morgan. She became the first director of the library and held the position till her retirement in 1948. This year is the centenary year of the Morgan Library. The celebrations include a major exhibition dedicated to the life and career of Belle da Costa Greene starting from the 25th of this month itself. For those of us who cannot go to see the actual exhibition, this book could be the next best option. Here's what makes the book so interesting.
Speaking my mind.
Belle da Costa Greene's life is inspirational. After her father abandoned the family, she couldn't afford to go to college. She joined Princeton as a librarian and she learned on the job. Her salary from Princeton and later the Morgan Library helped her educate her brother and younger sister and elevate the circumstances of the whole family. Can we even imagine the tremendous pressure under which she must have lived her whole life? She was an extremely capable, intelligent woman who constantly lived under an ominous cloud of possible discovery. Denying her roots must also have taken away a major psychological support that most people get from the community of others. She never married because she was afraid that if she had children and they were born with dark skin, she would get exposed. The truth of her black ancestry was discovered in the 1990s during research conducted by JP Morgan's biographers. It may seem like she abandoned her people to better her own life, but in retrospect, what she achieved in her field later helped the cause of both women as well as black people. Even during her lifetime, she was an inspiration for women fighting for equal rights. When she first started going to auctions as JP Morgan's representative, most people underestimated her. But she was bold and daring in acquiring something that JP Morgan had set his eyes on. Her tenacity and keen business sense was revealed in the way she procured books and art for the library. The book is full of anecdotes and interesting information about the era. You get a sideline view of the world of book and art collectors and the fierce competition as well as the camaraderie that exists in that world. The technical aspects of her work may seem to have been glossed over, but for a layperson, there is enough detail to keep us engrossed and enhance our knowledge, but not so much that it would make your eyes glaze over. The authors have scoured every possible document and resource to make the story as authentic as possible. Belle was so paranoid that she destroyed all her own letters and documents. But the correspondence between JP Morgan and her, as well as the letters she sent to other people, provide a lot of insight into her life. It's a sensitively written book that perfectly captures that period. It opens your eyes to the discrimination faced by women and African Americans and the struggle and tremendous sacrifices it must have taken to rise above it, both by Belle and others of that era. The heights Belle reached are breathtaking. She paid a heavy emotional price for it, but today she stands as an example of what a woman can achieve with her tenacity, intelligence, and strong will. For anyone who might be tempted to judge her for the subterfuge she lived with her entire life, we should remember that
Quote unquote.
a colored girl named Belle Marion Greener would never have been considered for a job with Mr. J.P. Morgan. Only a white girl called Belle da Costa Greene would have that opportunity. That is the bitter truth. Let's find out the LINEDSCAPE rating of today's book.
LINEDSCAPE Rating.
LINEDSCAPE is an acronym for the 10-factor book rating system that I have devised. You can find a link up there or in the description to a video that explains how it works. You can check that out. So here goes. L for language, 8 on 10. I for impact, 8 on 10. I learned a lot about rare books and manuscripts and art in general from this book. N for novelty, 9 on 10. E for engagement, 9 on 10. D for descriptions, 9 on 10. S for sense, also known as logic, 9 on 10. C for characters, 8 on 10. A for aesthetics, 8 on 10. P for plot, 9 on 10. And E for enjoyment, 9 on 10. That gives us a total score of 78 on 100, which translates into 4 stars. Now it's time to put my thoughts.
In a nutshell,
The Personal Librarian is a story of the triumph of intellect, willpower, and grit over discrimination and racism. It's the inspiring story of Belle da Costa Greene, who had everything going against her, her economic status, her gender, her ancestry, and yet she overcame every single obstruction to become one of the most successful women of her times. It's a historical novel based on facts, and it's the product of extensive research. If you're looking for a story to entertain and inspire you at the same time, pick up The Personal Librarian by Marie Benedict and Victoria Christopher Murray today. There's a link to buy the book in the description and in the pinned comment. Had you heard of Belle da Costa Greene before this? Do let me know in the comments. I'm genuinely curious about how many people have heard of her. Because I hadn't, and I feel so bad about that. We need to spread such inspiring stories everywhere. Before I go, remember I upload a fresh episode every week. If you liked this episode, please give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell icon so you never miss an episode. And please share with your friends and family. The more, the merrier. This is Asavri signing off for now, and until the next time, have fun under the reading lamp. Switch on, read on.